there are 4 major bone shapes in the human body. I am going to point out 2 of each of these 4 bone shapes. The first one that I'm going to start with is the flat bone. So the first one I'm going to point out here is the sternum. It's a flat bone. And then I'm going to turn him over, point out the scapular. It's also a flat bone. Another bone shape that I'm going to point out is the long. So we're going to come down here, the femur, and the tibia. Both long bone shapes. I mean, you can tell the difference between the flat bone and the long bone. Moving on to short bones. So we're going to look at the carpal. These are all the carpal bones right here in this area around in the wrist. And then the tarsal is here. All of these bones here. So again, you can see the major differences between the tarsal and the carpal bones and the long bones and the flat. Last major bone shape is irregular. So an irregular bone shape would be the vertebrae. The intricate shaping and like the ridges of the vertebrae is what makes it an irregular bone shape, comparatively to the flat and the carpal and the tarsal. Oop, the leg came off. Anyway, the second irregular bone that I wanted to point out was the mandible. So that's going to be the jaw. So I found this one to be a little bit tricky because in some places it is smooth and flat, like the sternum, and other places, like here, there are ridges, and here there are ridges and edges to it that make it not flat. It is pretty tricky, but yeah. That is all for the bone shapes. Them being, again, flat, irregular, short, and long. The only other thing I can think of to say about the flat, irregular, short, and long is that I did read that the long bone, how you can identify them, because I was confused as to what could be a long bone and what could be a short bone. I mean, it makes more sense when you use the carpal and the tarsals as just short bones, but I did think for a moment that this would be a short bone comparatively to this to being a long bone, but it's really just that the length is longer than the width of the bone. That's what makes it a long bone. I just wanted to point that out. All right, thank you.